The best way to know what is written in the Bible, so that you can know the truth, know your biblical rights and obligations, and avoid false doctrines, is to read the Bible consecutively, every day, from Genesis to Revelation, every year. You can achieve that life-changing goal by participating in this Dr. Leesi Mitee's Easy Daily Bible Reading in 1 Year Challenge. It requires just a few minutes every day, listening to the Bible, the inspired Word of God. Please, share your thoughts, discuss today's Bible reading, or ask questions, in the comment text box. Thank you so much. Please, click the subscribe button, the like button, and notification bell button. Today is day 103 of the 365 days of the year. The 13th of April. Today's Bible reading is from 1 Kings chapter 16, chapter 17, and chapter 18. 1 Kings chapter 16. Yahweh's word came to Jehu the son of Hanani against Baasha, saying, Because I exalted you out of the dust and made you prince over my people Israel, and you have walked in the way of Jeroboam and have made my people Israel to sin, to provoke me to anger with their sins, behold, I will utterly sweep away Baasha and his house. And I will make your house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat. The dogs will eat Baasha's descendants who die in the city, and he who dies of his in the field, the birds of the sky will eat. Now the rest of the acts of Baasha, and what he did, and his might, aren't they written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? Baasha slept with his fathers, and was buried in Tirzah, and Elah his son reigned in his place. Moreover, Yahweh's word came by the prophet Jehu the son of Hanani against Baasha and against his house, both because of all the evil that he did in Yahweh's sight, to provoke him to anger with the work of his hands, in being like the house of Jeroboam, and because he struck him. In the 26th year of Asa king of Judah, Elah the son of Baasha began to reign over Israel in Tirzah for 2 years. His servant Zimri, captain of half his chariots, conspired against him. Now he was in Tirzah, drinking himself drunk in the house of Asa, who was over the household in Tirzah. And Zimri went in and struck him and killed him in the 27th year of Asa king of Judah, and reigned in his place. When he began to reign, as soon as he sat on his throne, he attacked all the house of Baasha. He didn't leave him a single one who urinates on a wall among his relatives or his friends. Thus Zimri destroyed all the house of Baasha, according to Yahweh's word which he spoke against Baasha by Jehu the prophet, for all the sins of Baasha, and the sins of Elah his son, which they sinned and with which they made Israel to sin, to provoke Yahweh, the God of Israel, to anger with their vanities. Now the rest of the acts of Elah, and all that he did, aren't they written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? In the 27th year of Asa king of Judah, Zimri reigned 7 days in Tirzah. Now the people were encamped against Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines. The people who were encamped heard that Zimri had conspired, and had also killed the king. Therefore all Israel made Omri, the captain of the army, king over Israel that day in the camp. Omri went up from Gibbethon, and all Israel with him, and they besieged Tirzah. When Zimri saw that the city was taken, he went into the fortified part of the king's house and burned the king's house over him with fire, and died, for his sins which he sinned in doing that which was evil in Yahweh's sight, in walking in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin which he did to make Israel to sin. Now the rest of the acts of Zimri, and his treason that he committed, aren't they written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? Then the people of Israel were divided into two parts. Half of the people followed Tibni the son of Ginath, to make him king, and half followed Omri. But the people who followed Omri prevailed against the people who followed Tibni the son of Ginath. So Tibni died, and Omri reigned. In the 31st year of Asa king of Judah, Omri began to reign over Israel for 12 years. He reigned 6 years in Tirzah. He bought the hill Samaria of Shema for 2 talents of silver. And he built on the hill, and called the name of the city which he built, Samaria, after the name of Shema, the owner of the hill. Omri did that which was evil in Yahweh's sight, and dealt wickedly above all who were before him. For he walked in all the way of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and in his sins with which he made Israel to sin, to provoke Yahweh, the God of Israel, to anger with their vanities. Now the rest of the acts of Omri which he did, and his might that he showed, aren't they written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? So Omri slept with his fathers, and was buried in Samaria, and Ahab his son reigned in his place. In the 38th year of Asa king of Judah, Ahab the son of Omri began to reign over Israel. Ahab the son of Omri reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years. Ahab the son of Omri did that which was evil in Yahweh's sight above all that were before him. As if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, he took as wife Jezebel the daughter of Ethbaal king of the Sidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him. He raised up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria. Ahab made the Asherah. And Ahab did more yet to provoke Yahweh, the God of Israel, to anger than all the kings of Israel who were before him. In his days Heel the Bethelite built Jericho. He laid its foundation with the loss of Abiram his firstborn, and set up its gates with the loss of his youngest son Segub, according to Yahweh's word, which he spoke by Joshua the son of Nun. 1 Kings chapter 17. Elijah the Tishbite, who was one of the settlers of Gilead, said to Ahab, As Yahweh, the God of Israel, lives, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. Then Yahweh's word came to him, saying, Go away from here, turn eastward, and hide yourself by the brook Cherith, that is before the Jordan. You shall drink from the brook. I have commanded the ravens to feed you there. So he went and did according to Yahweh's word, for he went and lived by the brook Cherith that is before the Jordan. The ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening, and he drank from the brook. After a while, the brook dried up, because there was no rain in the land. Yahweh's word came to him, saying, Arise, go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and stay there. Behold, I have commanded a widow there to sustain you." So he arose and went to Zarephath. And when he came to the gate of the city, behold, a widow was there gathering sticks. He called to her and said, "Please get me a little water in a jar, that I may drink." As she was going to get it, he called to her and said, "Please bring me a morsel of bread in your hand." She said, "As Yahweh your God lives, I don't have anything baked, but only a handful of meal in a jar and a little oil in a jar. Behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and bake it for me and my son, that we may eat it, and die." Elijah said to her, "Don't be afraid. Go and do as you have said, but make me a little cake from it first, and bring it out to me, and afterward make some for you and for your son. For Yahweh, the God of Israel, says, the jar of meal will not run out, and the jar of oil will not fail, until the day that Yahweh sends rain on the earth." She went and did according to the saying of Elijah. And he, and her household ate many days. The jar of meal didn't run out and the jar of oil didn't fail, according to Yahweh's word, which he spoke by Elijah. After these things, the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, became sick, and his sickness was so severe that there was no breath left in him. She said to Elijah, "What have I to do with you, you man of God? You have come to me to bring my sin to memory, and to kill my son." He said to her, "Give me your son." He took him out of her bosom, and carried him up into the room where he stayed, and laid him on his own bed. He cried to Yahweh and said, "Yahweh my God, have you also brought evil on the widow with whom I am staying, by killing her son?" He stretched himself on the child 3 times, and cried to Yahweh and said, "Yahweh my God, please let this child's soul come into him again." Yahweh listened to the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him again, and he revived. Elijah took the child and brought him down out of the room into the house, and delivered him to his mother. And Elijah said, "Behold, your son lives." The woman said to Elijah, "Now I know that you are a man of God, and that Yahweh's word in your mouth is truth." 1 Kings chapter 18. After many days, Yahweh's word came to Elijah, in the 3rd year, saying, "Go, show yourself to Ahab, and I will send rain on the earth." Elijah went to show himself to Ahab. The famine was severe in Samaria. Ahab called Obadiah, who was over the household. Now Obadiah feared Yahweh greatly, for when Jezebel cut off Yahweh's prophets, Obadiah took 100 prophets, and hid them 50 to a cave, and fed them with bread and water. Ahab said to Obadiah, "Go through the land, to all the springs of water, and to all the brooks. Perhaps we may find grass and save the horses and mules alive, that we not lose all the animals." So they divided the land between them to pass throughout it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself. As Obadiah was on the way, behold, Elijah met him. He recognized him, and fell on his face, and said, "Is it you, my lord Elijah?" He answered him, "It is I. Go, tell your lord, behold, Elijah is here." He said, How have I sinned, that you would deliver your servant into the hand of Ahab, to kill me? As Yahweh your God lives, there is no nation or kingdom where my Lord has not sent to seek you. When they said, He is not here, he took an oath of the kingdom and nation that they didn't find you. Now you say, Go, tell your Lord, behold, Elijah is here. It will happen, as soon as I leave you, that Yahweh's Spirit will carry you I don't know where. And so when I come and tell Ahab, and he can't find you, he will kill me. But I, your servant, have feared Yahweh from my youth. Wasn't it told my Lord what I did when Jezebel killed Yahweh's prophets, how I hid 100 men of Yahweh's prophets with 50 to a cave, and fed them with bread and water? Now you say, Go, tell your Lord, behold, Elijah is here. He will kill me. Elijah said, As Yahweh of armies lives, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself to him today. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab, and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. When Ahab saw Elijah, Ahab said to him, Is that you troubler of Israel? He answered, I have not troubled Israel, but you and your father's house, in that you have forsaken Yahweh's commandments and you have followed the Baals. Now therefore send, and gather to me all Israel to Mount Carmel, and 450 of the prophets of Baal, and 400 of the prophets of the Asherah, who eat at Jezebel's table. So Ahab sent to all the children of Israel, and gathered the prophets together to Mount Carmel. Elijah came near to all the people, and said, How long will you waver between the two sides? If Yahweh is God, follow him, but if Baal, then follow him. The people didn't say a word. Then Elijah said to the people, I, even I only, am left as a prophet of Yahweh. But Baal's prophets are 450 men. Let them therefore give us 2 bulls, and let them choose 1 bull for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on the wood, and put no fire under, and I will dress the other bull, and lay it on the wood, and put no fire under it. You call on the name of your God, and I will call on Yahweh's name. The God who answers by fire, let him be God. All the people answered, What you say is good. Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, Choose 1 bull for yourselves, and dress it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your God, but put no fire under it. They took the bull which was given them, and they dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from morning even until noon, saying, Baal, hear us. But there was no voice, and nobody answered. They leaped about the altar which was made. At noon, Elijah mocked them, and said, Cry aloud, for he is a god. Either he is deep in thought, or he has gone somewhere, or he is on a journey, or perhaps he sleeps and must be awakened. They cried aloud, and cut themselves in their way with knives and lances until the blood gushed out on them. When midday was past, they prophesied until the time of the evening offering. But there was no voice, no answer, and nobody paid attention. Elijah said to all the people, Come near to me. And all the people came near to him. He repaired Yahweh's altar that had been thrown down. Elijah took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom Yahweh's word came, saying, Israel shall be your name. With the stones he built an altar in Yahweh's name. He made a trench around the altar large enough to contain 2 seahs of seed. He put the wood in order, and cut the bull in pieces and laid it on the wood. He said, Fill 4 jars with water, and pour it on the burnt offering and on the wood. He said, Do it a second time. And they did it the second time. He said, Do it a third time. And they did it the third time. The water ran around the altar, and he also filled the trench with water. At the time of the evening offering, Elijah the prophet came near and said, Yahweh, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and that I have done all these things at your word. Hear me, Yahweh, hear me, that this people may know that you, Yahweh, are God, and that you have turned their heart back again. Then Yahweh's fire fell and consumed the burnt offering, the wood, the stones, and the dust, and it licked up the water that was in the trench. When all the people saw it, they fell on their faces. They said, Yahweh, He is God. Yahweh, He is God. Elijah said to them, Seize the prophets of Baal. Don't let one of them escape. They seized them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon, and killed them there. Elijah said to Ahab, Get up, eat and drink, for there is the sound of abundance of rain. So Ahab went up to eat and to drink. Elijah went up to the top of Carmel, and he bowed himself down on the earth, and put his face between his knees. He said to his servant, Go up now and look toward the sea. He went up and looked, then said, There is nothing. He said, Go again, 7 times. On the 7th time, he said, Behold, a small cloud, like a man's hand, is rising out of the sea. He said, Go up, tell Ahab, get ready and go down, so that the rain doesn't stop you. In a little while, the sky grew black with clouds and wind, and there was a great rain. Ahab rode, and went to Jezreel. Yahweh's hand was on Elijah, and he tucked his cloak into his belt and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel.